You thought the video froze. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about my most favorite topic, resume writing. So I had the opportunity to look at tons of resumes, and I'm seeing a lot of patterns that people tend to fall into as they're crafting and creating their resume. So today I want to talk about some of the things that you can do to ensure that your resume stands out and you avoid some of those pitfalls that a lot of people tend to make when they're writing their resume. So we're going to start at the beginning and really very, very general basic stuff that you can do as you sit down to kind of craft this document. The first one is to ensure that you gather all the necessary information and materials that you need. So this means looking back and thinking about what awards you've won, what positions you've held, what community service you participated in. You really need to take some time and gather up all of those resources. When did you work at certain places? What awards have you won? All of those types of timelines and important moments in your life that you really want reflected in this document. So once that's all crafted and once that's all documented, I want you to open up just a plain regular document on your Mac, PC, whatever your computer choice is. What? Don't say that either. Just computer. Just open up a document on your computer. And I want you to start typing. And the reason for this is there are tons and tons and tons of resume templates out there in the resume world. You could search them, you can find them, but basically guess what? So can everybody else. So people like me that look at resumes for a living, we can spot a template a million miles away. So my best advice today is to just open up a document and start typing. You can go ahead and use those templates as guidelines as to what you like and what you don't like, but you definitely want to use your own ability to kind of navigate and edit and create your document from scratch. So that's tip number 1 for today. Tip number 2, I want you to make sure that you're really focusing on the application itself. What is the position asking for? Do you need a resume? Do you need a cover letter? Are there certain things that the employer wants you to highlight in your resume? Oftentimes, though, that information is articulated in the job description. I actually print out the job description myself, and then I circle and I highlight the specific skills, tasks, and ability that I have that directly relate to the position. But don't worry, you don't have to have every single skill or responsibility that the position is looking for. In fact, a lot of people don't seem to tend to apply to positions unless they meet all the characteristics and qualities that the position is looking for. Not the case. That's where transferability of skills come in, and I'm going to show you how to write that on your resume. Tip number 3, allow yourself enough time. Resumes take a while to write. Once you have the first one written though, you can edit and change it, and you can apply to any and all positions off that one resume. So trust me, stick with the process. Give yourself enough time to ensure that you are allowing yourself to adequately reflect your skills, experiences, and accomplishments that are directly related to a specific job. Tip number 4, think of 4 C's. Your resume needs to be clear, concise, consistent, and correct. So the first one is clear. Make sure your writing is clear. Make sure it's free from typos. Second one is consistent. If you bold something in the beginning, you need to bold it all the way through. If you spell out a date, you need to spell out the date all the way through the document. If you abbreviate a state or a city, you need to abbreviate it all the way through. And the last one, clear, concise, consistent. Consistency is the third C. So consistency is consistency of font. Now is not the time to get creative with fun fonts like Comic Sans. No one will take you seriously if you use a font like that. And the last one is correct. Please, please, please do not lie on your resume. Do not embellish and do not fib. People will find out, and it's best to highlight your authentic skills and experiences on your document. So let's get started. You want to start at the top of your resume with your contact information. Your name should be bold, and it should be the largest thing on your resume. So a 14 or a 16 size font. That's it. I always like to include the middle initial of my name. My name is Denise Harris, a very common name, but Denise M. Harris, the likelihood of an employer Googling me and finding the authentic Denise Harris most likely increases when you include your middle initial. Plus, I just like the way it looks. Your correct street address, phone number, and email address. Make sure your email address is professional. I know this sounds very common, but no one wants to open up I love bunnies or sexypants@hotmail.com. You want to make sure that your email address is representative of who you are as a professional. So your first and last name, something along those lines at Yahoo or Hotmail or whatever your provider of choice is. And then last but not least is your cell phone number. Most people put their cell phone numbers on their resumes, totally okay. Just make sure a couple things. Number one, you've actually taken the time to set up your voicemail. I can't tell you how many times I call people and it's that scary, weird man's voice.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Or your mailbox is full. People, edit out those mailboxes, clear out those messages. You want to make sure that an employer, once they have your document, can actually contact you. And last but not least, you really want to make sure that you have a professional sounding voicemail message. Some people don't like to say their name on their voicemail, totally fine. But you can restate your phone number and let them know when would be a better time to get a hold of you. So that's your contact information. You want to start then at the next section, which is going to be your education. Where did you get a degree from if you've obtained a degree? You also list your degrees in reverse chronological order. So let's say you have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree. You'd list the master's first, then the bachelor's, and then their associate's degree. At this point, you're going to want to leave high school off. You keep just the most recent academic accomplishments towards the top of the resume. Everything from high school, if you're a professional at this point, should be removed from your document. Related or relevant experiences next. So that's where you want to list internships or jobs or community involvement that directly relates to the position you're applying for. Remember when I said that your resume is a fluid document? Well, this is where that comes into place. Your related or relevant experience may change. It depends on the position you're applying for. So it could be an internship or a job or a part-time employment opportunity, maybe even community involvement. Those things can be directly related to the position you're applying for and listed next. You want to list the name of the organization, where that organization is, your title or the position you've held, and the dates that you worked there. Simple, right? But this is where it gets tricky. Underneath that employment experience or related experience, you have to list your action-oriented statements. This is where the bullets come into play and you really take the time to articulate what you did at each position, but it needs to start with an action verb. So provided or managed or oversaw or prepared or documented. And then you want to fill it in with a lot of really strong content. So tell me how much and how many. Anytime you can quantify your experiences, that means add a number to something. It helps an employer understand what you've done. We often fall into the trap of just listing responsibilities. We don't want to do that. If you worked at the Gap, we know that you probably folded sweaters, right? That's great, but that's not going to necessarily resonate or show your transferability of skills to an employer. So instead, what you want to do is you want to talk about how you trained other individuals or you followed company policies and procedures, how you were responsible for upselling or generating revenue. Those things are great skill set that can definitely speak to a wide diversity of employers. The next sections can really be at your discretion. What do you want to highlight next? Maybe you were in the military. Maybe you have extensive language skills. Maybe you are involved in the community. Whatever section is really important and that, again, directly relates to the position is where you want to list next. But all of those sections really are important and should be listed somewhere on your document. You want to stay away from just a general skills section. I often see this on a lot of resumes where people will just list communication skills or analytical skills or time management skills. Without context, that really doesn't mean anything to an employer. So you really want to back up those experiences with actual content from locations or places where you've earned those skills. Computer skills, talking about proficiencies, talking about different specific computer programs that you're good at will also be a great way to kind of wrap up and tailor your resume to a specific job. You want to make sure that you leave off references available upon request. That's kind of outdated language and takes up valuable space on your resume. Instead, you actually want to put other skills or abilities that you have on that resume so you can really end your resume very strong and make sure that it's directly related and targeted to the specific position that you apply for. You also want to make sure that that resume is updated. So anytime you are on a committee, anytime that you learn a new skill or a new language or you're involved in a new program or activity, please take the time, 5 minutes, to document that on your resume. Then when you apply for a job, you simply edit and reformat your resume to make sure that it meets the specific skills and qualifications that they're looking for. So those are the fundamentals of writing a resume. Those are the components you need to really ensure that your resume is the best representation of who you are as a practitioner. Why is a resume even important? A resume really is your ticket to get a job interview. It really is your personal marketing instrument. This is the only thing an employer has to go off of to see if they want to bring you in for the skill set. So make sure that it really does highlight all of your skills, abilities, interests, and what you can most importantly bring to that position. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Bye, everybody. Yeah, let me just take a step real quick. Okay. Dead bunnies. Okay.